Or the,
Craig and Renee.
yeah. Well, right this minute I am now. Depending on how long this meeting lasts. The last time you come to a meeting, you
All right, welcome y'all.
stay here till 1 o'clock.
Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for coming to our August 29th Rankin County Board of Supervisors meeting. I'm going to call this meeting to order and ask Craig Slay, would he pray for us?
Lord God, thank you for the day that you've given us. Father, help us to rejoice and be glad in it. Father, help us to use the skills and the abilities that you've given us for the betterment of this county. I pray, Father, that you will continue to protect the county, bless the county how you have in the past. Father, thank you for these gentlemen and the sacrifices that they've made so that they might serve in the best interest of the citizens of our county. Father, we pray for our first responders. We pray for those that are facing weather systems that are approaching, Lord. I pray for wisdom. I pray for folks to be able to prepare. Lord, I pray for your mercies to be poured out and to divert it, Lord, so that there is no disaster. We pray all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right, we'll adjourn Planning Commission meeting. So calling our Planning Commission to order.
Motion to approve the August 1 minutes.
Second.
All right, Bob makes a motion, Jared seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Old business?
There is no old business.
All right, new considerations.
All right, the first item is a conditional use permit for John Shambly at 126 Green Oaks. Mr. Shambly is seeking the conditional use permit to place 2 dwellings on a 1-acre parcel. Actually, the road dead ends into a property, and the 1-acre lot is beyond that property, so it has no access to the public road. That shows the 1-acre property. The road just stops on this piece right here. So Mr. Chambly is disabled, and he needs family close by to care for him. And he wants to build a house for him and his daughter to live in, and then he also wants to place a new double-wide manufactured home on this property for his grandson to live in. Again, it's a 1-acre parcel. It's zoned RE1A. That's an aerial view of the property. And then this is their site plan, and they've obtained an easement for a driveway to come into the property. And then also they've got a wastewater easement from the person to the north here for one or both dwellings if need be. That's a view of the house at the very end of the road where it dead ends. And then these are surrounding properties. The Shambleys are here today if y'all have any questions for them. So
Only
the property's,
question. Go
I
ahead.
was just going to say, so the property's actually behind this piece.
Okay, so,
It won't be visible from
right,
the
but
road.
they got access to it, an easement to it,
Right.
and they're gonna build I mean, how far is it? How long?
I'm not sure that, Ms.
I just-
How long the house
Huh?
be?
the driveway?
Yeah, from that you gotta build a driveway in back to that easement, on the easement, man. Huh?
Maybe 100 yards,
Oh.
he said.
Okay.
Well, the issue I see with it is looking down the road, you know, you wanna sell one of these, you have two properties on one parcel. That's not gonna work well in the future.
We wouldn't be selling it because it's gonna be to my son, which is his grandson, will be in one. And if I decide to leave, it's gonna go to either my grandchildren or to my other daughter. Which, I mean, years down, maybe, 20 or 30 years, 40 maybe.
And another thing, just from a safety side, that driveway needs to be built where we can get emergency vehicle.
Right, we're having a meeting tomorrow, as a matter of fact, with Tim Parker, I think's his name, and there's you him? Okay, we got one tomorrow to
Okay,
set up
yeah.
the measurements and all that.
Yeah, that would be a big concern of mine, especially if you're talking about the situation you're in.
Correct.
In case an emergency vehicle need to get in there.
Our
realize
Correct.
that all we're doing today is just setting the hearing, but an idea for
Oh.
thinking about in the future. Maybe that a condition that gets placed is that if the mobile home becomes unoccupied by the grandson, then the mobile home has to leave.
Well, I don't want it to become from rental. So that's down the
So-
road. I know it's down the road, but
It's
anyway.
permitted, and he can occupy it, but once he has moved on or is no longer occupying, then the mobile home has to go.
Unless it
That
goes
could
to
be a
another
condition.
family member.
Yeah, you can structure your conditions however.
Yeah.
I was just trying to make it as simple
Right.
to police as possible. But yeah, that would work as well, as long as it's occupied by a member of the family who is directly related to the grandfather.
Right.
Also, we have had that property posted, and we did get one call in opposition to the manufactured home. They were opposed to any more manufactured homes being in the area.
So this is just to set the hearing.
Okay. Yeah, well, okay, well, I'll set the public hearing. Make a motion to set the public hearing.
Second.
All right, Jared makes motion, Jay seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, the next item is a conditional use permit for Amy Hines on Rankin Road. Ms. Hines is seeking a conditional use permit to place a 2019 14 by 60 manufactured home as a second dwelling on her property. It's on the south side of Rankin Road. She owns a 7.33 acre parcel that's zoned A2. That's an aerial view of the property. And this is her site plan. This is the existing home on the property, and this is the location of where the manufactured home will be placed. The home will be for her sister who is disabled and requires assistance for the rest of her life. That's the property, and that's an approximate location of where the home will be placed. That's the view of the house. And then these are surrounding properties. Ms. Hines is here today also if you have any questions.
I make a motion, we set this public hearing.
Second.
All right, I made the motion, Jay seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, the last item is a conditional use permit for E.W. Grantham, 136 Grantham Farm Road. Mr. Grantham is seeking the conditional use permit to mine 4 acres of a 154-acre parcel. It's located at the very end of Grantham Farm Road. The property is zoned RE1A. That's an aerial view. The dirt will be used for the Highway 49 construction project. These are just site plans and information that was submitted to DEQ as part of their mining application. The contractor will backhaul dirt from the project to the property. And then this is a view of that property.
Looks like it's already been mined.
Yeah, I think, go back. Yeah, go back. Oh,
It has in years past.
where they gonna backhaul? In that dip?
Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, they're saying it's a hole there, but it's reclaimed already. So I guess they're just gonna put it on top of that. It's,
Are we looking at the 4-acre permitted site that DEQ has passed off on? Does that picture depict?
no, sir. That's outside of the 4 acres. They're wanting to fill the whole site, which is beyond the 4 acres,
Has DEQ permitted that?
not to my knowledge.
And they're
For
asking.
4 acres, they do, but not for the whole site. They
Yes.
don't.
So what I want to be clear that we're understanding, even before we set the public hearing, I want to make sure that we're clear. The request that is before the board and that a public hearing is being asked to be set on is for activity that DEQ has not yet blessed.
No, they have a permit
They have a
for a
4
4-acre.
Is the request that we are about to set the public hearing to backfill the 4-acre site that DEQ has blessed?
I think it goes beyond that 4 acre site.
That's why I asked.
That's-
Well, I'm sure they gonna come and get, if they need more than 4, surely they're not gonna do the rest without getting proper permitting.
Yeah, but they can't, we don't need to set it till they get it.
We're only asked to do 4. We're not asked to do 12 or 20.
Yeah, and he clearly put 4 acres. He put dirt for 49 project and then bring in refill dirt, take out road dirt.
Okay? So I want everybody to be really clear that we're talking about the 4-acre site, that DEQ has permitted. That's all we're talking about.
Is that correct?
Can't we get them to stake off that area so everybody's clear on where it is?
We absolutely need to know what has DEQ permitted. Because what we want to take up for consideration is the 4-acre site that DEQ has permitted, and not 1 square inch more than
Right.
that. Now, if they want to go back to DEQ and go through all of the drill to get permitted for the whole site, they're welcome to do that, and then they can come back and talk to us about our conditional use on top of that. But I want it very, very clear that at this stage, the only thing that DEQ has permitted is a specific 4-acre site. And we need to delineate that specifically for our purposes, okay?
Yeah, I think what they're saying is that little circle, I thought that was the area, but now maybe I'm wrong. Did you?
They've got, this is the site that only has 1.8 acres left to mine.
Correct.
And, you know, I don't understand that part of it.
Yeah.
What they're wanting to do is to mine that out.
Right.
And then the whole site, bring spoiled dirt back in.
Right.
But to do that, you'd have to go through DEQ, the stormwater permits, everything, you know, so.
Well, surely the gentleman will be here, right?
Which
He'll
one?
be
We
here
have our
today,
meeting.
but he's not.
So, I mean, I
Yeah,
think
y'all
all that can
you,
be.
you absolutely
yeah.
are welcome to set it today. And
Well, I'm
just
gonna,
move
I'm
the
gonna set
process
it, but
on.
we're gonna, I'm not opening the door.
I just didn't want it to be unclear to anybody.
Yeah. Because there's a whole lot more factors in here other than just mining 1.8 acres. So, you know, I guess I'll just set the public hearing and then we'll make a motion to set it and then we'll, fine tune it. But only setting the public hearing for the 4 acres to mine.
Yeah, just make sure that we have a clear understanding
Yeah.
prior to October the 7th, which
That's-
is when the hearing would be.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep, just
Yeah.
make sure we have a clear understanding.
Okay. All right, well, I'll set the public hearing.
Jared makes a motion, Daniel seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right.
So the next thing is a site plan architectural review for tower storage of Rankin County at 1190 Old Fannin Road. Tower storage was granted a conditional use permit to construct a climate-controlled mini-storage facility in June of this year. The property is located on the east side of Old Fannin Road. It's a 4.69 acre parcel that's zone C2. That's an aerial view of the property. The property does adjoin Regatta to the east. And this is their site plan. You can see the placement of the building here on the lot. It's an 83,045 square foot, 1-story building. They do have the drive and parking lots all concrete. This is their landscape plan. They are going to maintain this existing tree line buffer to the south. And Regatta has an existing wooden fence at the back, but they're showing 6-foot minimum evergreen trees that will be planted along that line to screen that property from the residential use.
What happens when the trees die?
Well, technically, they're not required to do anything other. They could use Regatta's fence, but if something were to happen to the fence, they would be responsible to replace it. And, you know, if it went away, they would have to come back with the fence.
Wednesday.
So they,
Tower storage, because the commercial use is the one responsible.
so he, regardless, if the plant vegetation
If something
doesn't work,
happens,
then he's got to
they're
come back with the
responsible to
fence.
put it
Well,
back. But
I think we need to definitely note that because we've actually had that happen on where storage butted up to a subdivision off Old Fannin, and then it become an argument over who was responsible for putting the fence back up.
But I think what they're wanting to do is get that landscape buffer in there, so, you know, that's essentially gonna be their,
A little more
their
height.
screen.
And they've spoken to Regatta, so everybody's good with it in the area.
This is a public hearing.
No, this is just
No,
a
it's
site
a
plan
review.
architectural
We've already
review.
approved it,
Yeah,
but
we've
they
already
know
approved
they're
it.
on the hooks for it.
Yep.
All right.
All right, so these are the elevations of the building. The top one is the west elevation. That's what will front Old Fannin. It's an all-brick exterior, two-tone in color. I didn't mention, but there won't be any outside storage here. Everything on the inside of the building. And this is a view of that property. And then these are surrounding properties. Bobby Hogue is here today if y'all have any questions on anything. Oh, and one last thing. We have received the grading and drainage, and Tim has reviewed that. There were 2 items that need to be addressed, and so if you approve it, would you do it contingent upon his approval of that?
I had one time had mentioned about us, at least about an architect on our side of the equation, if over a certain financial amount, take a look at it, kind of make sure it all blends in with what's going on out there. Is that any interest? I mean, I know we hadn't really ever set a policy, I don't think, did we? I mean,
We've only
What's it?
done
anything
that
like
once.
$500,000 or 400,000 square foot. Was it square footage or size?
You originally said 300,000.
Thousand.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that and I'm sure they're going to build something that's very appealing to the eye, but just make sure that it goes with what everything else is out there. And I think an architect has that view better than we do. But then again, I don't know, that's up to the year area.
Yeah, he's brought some render. This isn't the first one of these he's done.
Yeah.
So he's got some in other, I can't remember the towns. Do you remember Louisiana, somewhere in Louisiana?
He's from
Got
Louisiana,
several
I
of them,
think.
so,
Miss Hogue.
We've built facilities in Monroe,
Right.
Lake Charles,
Yeah.
Texarkana,
Yeah.
Bentonville, Arkansas.
He showed me some of the renderings on them, and they're first class buildings.
I'm not doubt they are. I just, you got a certain area out there with a certain architectural standard, whatever it may be. Just make sure it goes in, whatever you want to do. And just throwing it out there.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
I like your idea, Bob, but I think this one would be good.
Sir?
I like your idea, and it's probably something we do need to look at implementing before we get to this stage, you know?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll make the motion to approve, and with those conditions you mentioned.
Okay.
All right, Daniel makes a motion to approve with contingent on drainage being approved, and Jay seconds that motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Mostly, I like to see you care about the reservoir.
Now,
That's my
the
favorite part.
nuisance problem.
I really wouldn't care if I wasn't driving up and down the road occasionally, so
This is-
if I
I
have to
think you
look
got
at
a,
it, I
I think
don't
you got a
care.
soft spot for the reservoir, you know? I gotta find it somewhere, and some days you have it
That's
softer than
right,
others.
you're exactly right, you know, you're right.
Greg.
Nuisance.
Don't worry, Craig, we just sit here.
Time is money. Time is money. My bad. My bad. The first item under the nuisance property section is the Richard Vaughn registered agent for Bent Creek Properties nuisance property at 167A Cumberland Road. This is a District 2 parcel. We'll open that public hearing. I'll ask for Renee to demonstrate. If Mr. Vaughn or anyone else here on behalf of Bent Creek Properties is available, you can start making your way forward.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
wanna say a few things while you go through the pictures and
Okay.
slides stuff. I've talked to Mr. Vaughn on the deal. He's got several of the rental properties in that area, and the situation that occurred with this is the tenants were arrested. So they're in the judicial system right now, going through it to get out. Once they get that taken care of out of the court system, they're gonna be charged to clean the thing up. Mr. Vaughn's a good man, and he's got numerous properties over here, and does a good job of keeping them up. He's just got some bad tenants. He's evicted them. He's served all the paperwork. They're in our jail. Chief, I don't know if they're still in our jail right now or not, but they're in the process side of it. So he's in the system of getting it all cleaned up.
How is he gonna make them clean it up, though? They're evicted. What leverage does he have?
I don't know the actual leverage he's got, but he's gonna ensure that it gets cleaned up. He just gotta get them out of there, so. Hey, Wayne, I didn't see you sit down there. We're good.
Whatever the case may be, the new name.
So Richard's my dad. I'm actually here on another item, but I do know that he has served those people with
Right.
eviction notice. It's in justice court now. I think court date is the 5th next week. So obviously, we're gonna go at them to do the best we can to get them cleaned up. If they don't, we'll clean it up as soon as we can get them out.
And
But we
that's
can't
why I
do much
spoke-
until we get them
I
out.
got you.
When I spoke to him this morning, he's got all the paperwork and everything else. He's good with it. He's gonna get it straight.
Right.
He's just letting it run through the process.
Well, you just said that they were gonna make them do it, and I was like,
Wait,
well, if you
he's-
wait on them, it ain't gonna ever get
No,
done.
He's gonna try-
we
he's
know
gonna
that.
try
We're
to make-
obviously
he's
gonna
gonna
go
try
at
to
them
make them do
to
it.
do what we can to get them to clean up
Gotcha.
what we can, but obviously, as soon as they're gone, we'll get it cleaned up.
Yeah. Thanks, Wayne. So, Craig, on
This
that.
may be set it for 30 days and let's revisit
Just
it
revisit
kind of
it
deal.
back then, and that way, if we need to give any kind of assistance to Mr. Vaughn through here, we can do that. So
Right.
just postpone it, say 45 days.
Yeah, it sounds like the process is well underway, so if
Right.
we can
It's
get a
in
decision
justice
by the
court.
5th, that helps sort of track where we're headed, and they can communicate that to Renee's office, and I think a 30-day time frame is adequate.
So that'll be my motion, 30-day time frame to.
All right. What we have is a motion to table this for 30 days, made by Daniel, second by Jay. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes.
That public hearing is closed for the record. Item B is the Kim Gwynn and Daniel Brown nuisance property. This is 109 Dogwood Circle, District 2 property. We'll open that public hearing. I'll ask Renee to demonstrate with the photographs, and if anyone is here, either Ms. Gwynn or Mr. Brown or anyone on their behalf, you can start making your way forward, please.
All right, so we received a complaint around June of this year, and these pictures were taken June 25th. They were in regard to rubbish and debris and inoperable vehicle appliances and grass. This property is in Belgrove subdivision. And these are the new pictures that were taken yesterday.
All right, Ms. Gwen, tell me about it.
Yes, we have a lot of trees in front of our house. It's like big and 100 feet tall. And 3 months ago, it's very dangerous because it's so old. So we decided to cut them down. That's why you see it, and it takes a long because we do it our own, and it takes a while to finish all that. And that, yeah, yesterday we finally got the stump now and clean it up. But by doing the tree, it messed up the concrete, so we're gonna build another driveway after this.
You're gonna build another driveway. What's the
Yes.
status of those two vehicles? Are those run?
Yeah, they rerun.
Both of those vehicles
Yes,
run?
yes.
Is it tagged?
You see why we gotta get this cleaned up, right? You can see your neighbor's yard to the left over there.
I know, and those two just got cut down yesterday, the day before yesterday, the stump, so I'm burning the stump right now. And by tomorrow or the next day, it's gonna be all cleaned up.
Yeah, I need this cleaned up quickly, very
I
quickly.
will.
So give me a
Yes.
time frame. Give me a time frame when the yard's right and get the new driveway going in.
The driveway, I don't know how long it takes to do the driveway, 3 weeks.
So you think in 30 days, this thing's gonna look totally
Yes.
different?
Yes, that will do.
All right, so I'm gonna go with you on that same plan. We'll do a 30-day extension, and we'll come back and revisit. If it's not, we're gonna take it up to Justice Court and see if they can encourage the matter a little more. But I gotta get it cleaned up. We gotta get the area looking a little better over there. So I need the stumps gone, house cleaned up on the outside,
Yeah.
driveway fixed, all the lumber and stuff off, and get it presentable for that area.
Yes, so I agree.
You agree? You think you can do it in 30 days?
I can do it in 30 days.
All right.
Thank you.
Might be easy in
All right,
30
so
days.
that'll be my motion, Mr.
Okay.
Slay. Thank you, Mr.
Second.
All right, Daniel makes a motion to table for 30 days. Jay seconds.
Can we go ahead and declare and delay for 30 days rather than just table this, Steve?
Yeah.
So that we don't have to go back through the notification process. So Daniel's motion would be to declare it a nuisance, but to delay transmitting it to the Justice Court for a period of 30 days to give them an opportunity to clean it up. If they clean it up, there won't be any need for it to be referred to Justice Court.
Perfect. I'm good with that.
Yep.
All right. A little change in the motion. instead of just tabling for 30 days, go ahead and declare it a nuisance and give them a 30-day period before we act on it. Jay seconds that. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Now, that hearing is closed. Item C is the Michael Lott as registered agent for American Credit Corporation. This is nuisance property at 315 Boatler Road, District 1 parcel. We'll open that public hearing. I'll ask Renee to demonstrate with the photos, and if Mr. Lott or anyone here on behalf of American Credit Corporation is prepared to speak, they may make their way forward now.
All right, so we received a complaint in April of this year in regard to rubbish and debris, inoperable vehicle, grass and weeds. The notices were mailed and they were received. I think Kathy has spoken with the tenant regarding the cleanup of the property. These are the new pictures that were taken yesterday.
These are yesterday right here.
That's it, yes, sir.
But it's like some improvement.
There has been some improvement. There's still that vehicle in the back. And, you know, they say that tree is on the neighbor, that it's not associated with this property.
Which street?
Where?
Boatler Road.
What tree though?
Oh, I think that tree that's been cut.
Yeah, there's.
You can't hardly,
there
I
was
don't know,
some
can you
wood.
see?
Oh, okay.
There was some wood stacked up. And, my name's Kenny Brewer. I'm representing American Credit. And this is Michael Clark. He's the tenant in this property. So I think he's come a long way. We got the notice. He's worked at it, cleaned up the front, as you see. Tells me the truck is operable. And,
Main thing is like a lot of just getting the grass and all trimmed up real good down the fence and all.
yes, sir, we talked about that, and he was saying since the rain has come, it's kind of got it wet right in there, and he was going to knock that down as soon as he can get up.
I'm not gonna knock that down.
Huh?
I'm not gonna knock that down. I can't get nowhere in there.
But when it dries up?
Even when it's not raining, that is so wet down through there from the drainage ditch that you can't get over there.
Did you not weed eat it?
You can weed eat it. You sink up to right here if you wanna try it.
Well, it's gonna have to be cleaned up. I mean, it looks good. I was just,
That is a drainage ditch for the county that goes back to a pond over there, and the beavers or something stop that pond up and backed up on our property. I can't even mow back in my backyard.
well, that's,
Unless it holds up for about 2 weeks to dry.
okay. Well, we have had a good bit of rain, but,
Even
that,
when it's not raining, you can walk back there and it's not too deep and mud in that ditch over there.
actually, that's not a county ditch.
So I can stop it up, I can put dirt over it and keep it from coming on my land.
If you're willing to get sued by your neighbors for throwing water on them. So,
I mean,
do what you need to do.
See, the county ditch, we don't do,
Why don't we just do it now? Never mind.
I'm just explaining that's not
Yeah.
a county ditch, and so you know.
it's got a cover
If you
coming right
disagree.
there. Across, coming under the road right there.
Yeah, I know it does, but we don't maintain that ditch, so it's not a county ditch, we maintain what's at the road. And I mean, I'm just telling you the way it is, we maintain that, that's a natural drainage, obviously, if there's a, culvert on the road, that must be a natural drainage part. And, but anyway, you've done a good bit, I think what we'll do, and I think the fair thing, we'll do just what we did with these other two. We'll go and declare it a nuisance. We give you 30 more days to do that. Maybe, we're going through some dry spell here. Maybe it'll dry up here. Maybe we'll get a little break. Because I know we had a tremendous amount of rain this other day, and everybody knows that. But that should give you time to find a window of time, I think, to get the rest of it cleaned up. And so I think that's the fairest way we can handle that. So I make a motion to go and declare it a nuisance, but there you give us some time to get it done, and then we'll go from there.
30 days.
Yeah.
Just like the others.
Okay.
Very good.
Is that good
All
enough?
right.
Thank you.
Jared makes a motion to declare it a nuisance, give them a 30-day period to clean it up. We'll check back before we send it. Jay seconds that motion. Any other discussion?
Yeah, what you got?
I'd like to mention something. When I've been going through this with Michael here, seems like we kind of get into specifics, and I think he's done a good job there. But if there's anything specifically, what I think I'm hearing you folks say is that let's take care of that along the fence.
Well, I can't see the whole thing, but I'll tell you
Yes,
what,
that's
our
correct.
people will monitor it. And I mean, 'cause we can't see the overall picture. I'm seeing what we see. So yes, you're right there, but they'll monitor it and look at it and be fair on whatever, because they'll be glad to look at it too.
Okay.
Is that fair enough?
Okay, you got any questions?
Okay, all right.
All right,
Good deal.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay. Item C, the public hearing on item C is closed. Item D is the Fred and Vivian Moore nuisance property at 576 Holyfield Circle. This is a District 3 property. We'll open that public hearing. I'll ask Renee to demonstrate with the photos. If Mr. and Ms. Moore are here or anyone on their behalf, you can make your way forward.
All right, so we received a new complaint on this property in July of this year. These are old pictures that date back to March of 2017, showing the condition of the property at that time. We've had complaints through the past. And then these are the new pictures that were taken yesterday. That's a good place to stop. The complaint was for rubbish and debris, inoperable vehicles, appliances, and manufactured homes moved in without a permit.
Really? So there's dwellings on here also?
In the back, there's one that was moved in 3 or 4 years ago. That, if I understood right, was going to a deer camp, but it's still there.
Can you see it? No.
Yeah.
Is that it there?
Mhm.
Is that the one?
That's the only mobile
Mr.
home.
Moore,
Yes.
tell us what's going on.
Well, I just got involved back in it. This property hadn't been in my name until just about 3 months ago.
Okay,
All of this stuff belongs to my son,
all right.
okay, except for the excavator and some construction stuff I had when I was doing construction business. I told him I had talked to an attorney, and he told me, since he lived there, I couldn't just go haul it off.
All right.
I have to give him 30 days' notice. So I told them to send him a letter, which they did. And now the 30 days is up. Now I can do something about it.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you what, let's do, Renee, what is your preference? This is going to take a while to kind of, I think,
Yes.
work through this. So declare it and give them 90 days, or let y'all, or 120, or,
I would go with a 90.
90?
Now,
This is
Bob, let me explain something to
Okay.
you. I have a problem. I give my daughter 2 acres in the middle of this back 20 years ago. And her son is living up there now.
In that trailer?
Huh?
In that trailer?
No, not in that one, in another one,
Is there
a double
living in
wide.
that trailer?
A double, there's nobody living in the trailers back there. Right now, he lives in a double wide. All right, they started calling the law on my son.
Who?
I had him clean it up.
Who's calling the law?
My grandson or my daughter, I don't know. They don't
Okay,
talk
okay,
to me.
Okay. I know you said
So I've
that.
got that problem to deal with. I should have never given the 2 acres.
Well, actually, he only gave them one.
Yeah, I give them
They were,
one.
she was supposed to have gave 1 acre back when her double wide
Yeah.
was paid for, but she won't do
Is
it.
it deeded to them?
Yeah, I did.
The one or the 2?
I
Two.
deeded the 2. They had to have 2 to get the double wide. you know, they wouldn't.
There's nothing we
But,
can
so
do
we
about
can't
it.
do nothing about that now.
Right.
So I'm having to fight that. Besides, I mean, I've had to get him out of jail twice. You know,
So,
So
It's-
you
it's-
said you're back into it. Does that mean you've taken back ownership? You've gotten the property back in your name?
I have, not all but the 2 acres.
2 acres.
I don't have the 2 acres.
And is any of this stuff on the 2 acres?
Yes,
All they can do, correct if I'm wrong, Mr. Slay, is he can only get on what is his to clean, and we just gonna have to declare the other one a nuisance as well. I'm not declare it, but go through the process
Yeah, we have to
there.
notify them too. and-
well,
him in the
there's a
fund.
whole bunch of,
It's a big mess.
there's a big mess.
All right, so let's talk a timeline, Mr. Moore. What in your goal here? Give me an idea what you think is what you're gonna do.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to get an attorney. Go in and either sue them so I can, I don't know, they haven't done nothing to me.
Right.
Because I've got an easement all the way from the front to the back. See, I still own the acre in the back.
so you had to go through the 2 acres to get to your acre?
Right.
I don't see where the problem is, though.
You
I
have
mean,
to-
the only thing you don't have to worry about the 2 acres. We'll deal with them separately, but everything else, you know.
Well, some of my stuff's sitting on that 2 acres.
well,
I got
You're not
disc.
contend with that, but I'm thinking what
Yeah.
Jay's
I
referred to.
mean, I got a disc sitting up there, I got a bush hog sitting up there, box blade sitting up there.
Well, as the way it looks right now, you don't have room to put it. You're gonna have to clean out a whole bunch of that, just find space to put all that.
Well, we've cleaned up a bunch of it. There's a bunch of it's been cleaned up.
Well, that was yesterday.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, that's on, there's, see all that, scrap metal and stuff on that trailer hooked behind the truck? It's been there to pull off.
All right, well, let's try this, Mr. Moore. I'll go back to my original suggestion is that we'll go ahead and declare it a nuisance and give Dwayne and Renee and their office opportunity to work with you. As long as progress continues to be made,
Okay.
and then we're good to go. But by me doing this, if progress stops or gets halted, then we have opportunity to send it on to justice court, and let them determine what the proper remedy should be. But you just need to keep Renee and Dwayne or whoever they appoint informed. If you get into a lawsuit with family members and all that stuff starts happening, they just need to be aware of what's going on as opposed to assuming that either nothing's going on or whatever's going on. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay, good. I'm gonna declare it a public nuisance, give them 120 days, on it, and give them an opportunity to work through it and
Good luck.
we can get it done.
I'll get the front part, we'll get it cleaned up
That'll
sometime
help
this,
tremendously.
next
And I
week or
could take
two.
care of what can be seen from the road, you know,
Right.
that'd be a great start. you know.
Right.
Well,
I
what
think
you
they're the
can
ones
anyway,
that's making the
make a
complaint.
Sir?
Thank you.
I think my
Bob
grandson's the
Bob
one
makes
that's
a
making the
motion,
complaint. They don't
set it,
understand, we can't clean
nuisance,
up.
I mean,
Declare a nuisance
nuisance,
for
declare
120
nuisance
days.
120 days. They will stay in touch with Renee's office. We have a second. Daniel seconds it. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. We appreciate your help.
Yes, sir.
It's getting enough as it is. I'm trying to clean up some of it. Some of it.
Okay, that public hearing is closed. Item E is the Mike Curtis nuisance property, 163 Carroll Avenue. This is District 1. We'll open that public hearing. I'll ask Renee to demonstrate. If Mr. Curtis or anyone here on behalf of Mr. Curtis is present, make your way forward.
This property's just been abandoned. We got this complaint in June of this year. Actually, we found out yesterday that it's been sold to the state, 826
It's been
tax
what?
roll. It was sold to the state.
Oh.
I mean, it's just abandoned.
That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what happens at this point, it's escheated to the state is what it means. It's not really sold. It's by operation of law, Secretary of State will control what ultimately happens with the property. We've been down this road before with nuisance properties that have escheated to the state, where we have asked the Secretary of State's office to do something about the condition of the property, since they ultimately hold title to the property, we get nowhere. I anticipate that that's what will happen here. So your options are limited. You can either authorize the cleanup yourself and attach a lien to the property, and then next year, the state will have to collect what's owed on the taxes that is cheated, plus the cleanup cost.
What's the likelihood of that?
I don't know what, you'd want to evaluate what is the total condition of the property, what's the total acreage that's in play here.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, would the state be able to make a deal with whoever to sell it for whatever price they could get?
Yes, sir. They could in fact do that, Jay, and have done that, by the way, in the past. You may remember the Stonebridge situation,
Right.
where the ask for us, of course, we're talking about 100 parcels of
Right.
property there. It was a big difference, but the ask of us was that we come off of some of the penalties and some of the interest amount that would have been otherwise payable to us in order to get that deal closed. So the answer is yes. They can in fact compromise some portion in order to make a deal work. But legally, they have to come and ask you to do that. They can't just do it on you.
Yeah.
How many acres is there?
1.
1 acre.
One?
Not even big
Showed
enough,
a
though.
past due
And is the
bill of $800.
dwelling,
Wonderful.
do what?
The waste management bill is up over $800. That's also a lien against the property. So
Is the dwelling, was
I
this?
wonder if they know that it's in that condition, or if they just continue to, I don't know. That's something we could look
Well,
at
it should
and
be
notify them, let
abandoned.
them
There
know
shouldn't
that
be
it's been
anything added
abandoned.
to it.
Yeah, that's it.
This is just late
Why are they
fee.
still
Late
milling
fee.
someplace
Yeah, it
where
should
there's
stop
nobody
that.
living
Have you
there?
yeah, so the
Well, I
waste
don't know that they are,
management,
but
when we,
sometimes we see that.
yeah, when we say waste management bill, we're talking about the amount that is billed via the tax collector under our waste management recovery, under our fee-based recovery. That's not waste management sending us a bill, okay? But more than likely, it will be counted as a housetop as a part of waste management's numbers, and that's how we get billed. So we'd have to dig down to see whether or not they're still including this as a billable housetop.
Wanda, you make sure and check this out, that we get it, it's not on there.
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of these, they can count on
Right.
a rooftop.
Yes.
Nobody living in the thing.
Correct.
I don't know what kind of shape that was in, I can't tell from the picture. Is it,
It's pretty bad. It's,
need to be gone?
oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, surely, we need to check that on a lot of these, I guess, out.
Yeah, so routinely, don't we have either I think Waste Management or even some of our own folks are out doing, I don't know how frequently, but there are audits that are done.
We have a house count, and they bill us according to the house count that was done when we renewed.
A few years ago.
CMPDD helped us with that, if y'all remember. And that
There's
was,
always houses that are not lived in that they charge us for, and years ago, we sat down with them and we tried to get them to do a 10% reduction for those houses that change during the time, like rent, and they're not being picked up for a few months, and they were firm on the count, and every month, the same count comes through.
Yeah, but if that's, I mean, I know some that obviously nobody's living in. If they're counting those as rooftops, we don't need to be paying.
Well, we did a count a few years ago, but we
Yeah.
only do it every.
Every time the
Yeah.
contract review.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, okay.
it's been at least 3 years since we had an actual physical count. It may be time, if y'all are interested, may be time for us to maybe contact CMPDD and see if they're willing to help us.
Before we have to do anything
Yeah.
next
Well, in
year,
20
we'll do it.
21 is when the actual contract that we're under
Renews.
now will
Expire.
And at that time, if we were to go back with them, we'd have to put it out to bid at that time.
Right.
If we were to go back with them, they would do another house count or whoever.
I thought we did.
would do one.
Do we not?
Y'all tell us what your pleasure is. Do you want us to reach out to CMPDD and see if they're willing to help us with a house count now? Or you want to just wait till we get ready for our
Yeah, let's do it
RFP?
later.
I would wait until after the first year and then have it done during the year. I think the contract is the following.
2021.
Yeah,
2021.
yep. So we'd be fresher with our count.
Actually, I don't know that they always accept our count. They are typically the ones that do count.
Well,
You know,
as a
we
part
have
of our,
sent we have sent people with them. One time we did it, when they have their own people, we had county people that rode with them, just for
Well-
accuracy. Not that they did anything wrong, but just for double check.
I know CMPDD was involved. I just remember that. They had some summer help that was a part of that.
Yeah.
So that's how we handled it. I would propose that we maybe look at RFP, how we structured that, and address in some way, how house counts are going to be handled under a new arrangement. So I think we would have an opportunity to have a better seat at the table there
Absolutely.
in the future. So we'll look at that and make sure.
Let me ask you this, as these new subdivisions go in and new houses, are they added to the roll?
Yeah, how does that work? You get a new subdivision that's added in?
Or are they waiting till the next contract?
They went to the next.
If that's the case, I bet we're picking up more houses than we're losing.
Well, they still get us for tonnage though, you know.
Yeah.
Right, the tonnage would still increase,
Yeah.
but the
Right,
house
yeah.
count would stay the same.
Yeah.
And that's one of their arguments in years past, even though we have rental houses that might sit vacant or those, it washes out.
Balances
within the
out.
next 6 months.
Okay.
All right, what do we want to do with this one?
Yeah, y'all got to tell us. I don't know that it does a bit of good to declare this one a nuisance and send it up to justice court. I think we're wasting our time doing
I
that.
don't wanna clean it up because it's not where someone else can come in and build a house on, you know?
So we should just simply take no action,
The
close the
problem we
public
got-
hearing.
The problem we have, and I'm saying it all over, is I don't know what to do with them though. I mean, I understand, I mean, if we don't come up with some way, because it's just gonna keep growing and growing, and it just gets worse and worse, and you got people
Well,
living.
Ideally, this would be a good fire training.
Well, I'm fine with that, I'm just saying,
It's not
some way it
ours.
needs to be done.
Well, it's the state's.
Then somebody's gotta clean up that part there.
I'm serious though, don't fire departments go in and do this now? They don't do it anymore?
They may, but they ain't supposed to.
No, sir.
I thought they actually did they not used to?
They used to.
It's just,
Never
not
mind.
supposed to do that.
But I mean, still you gotta clean it up
Oops.
after.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
You still gotta clean it up afterwards, is what I'm saying. Either way, you gotta clean
Well,
it
it'd be a lot easier to clean up after it's burned down.
I agree. But I'm just saying, these are getting to be more of a situation, and I don't know what to do with
Somebody
them.
tackle them over here.
There's a good many of them in Triangle Acres too.
Do what?
There's a good many of those in Triangle Acres that
I
stay
know.
on.
I know.
Which could be a problem.
And some of these are decent. I mean,
Set a
these
precedent.
are small lots, some of them are decent lots, if they're cleaned up. And I mean, what you gonna do? We just gonna let it keep growing up? I mean, there's one over there I've seen, you don't even know anything there, but you can't clean it up. I mean, it needs timber cut off of it. But, the problem is you got the wrong things going on in some of them, and you got, they just create snakes, and it's just horrible, because if you go to each side or across the road, you may see that there's a relatively, well-kept or a nicer place, and that's a shame, but that's what you're dealing with. So at some point, I think we're gonna have to figure out a way to clean up some of it. I mean, I don't know what to say. I know this is not the only one. I'm not gonna be the only one in the county.
What you can do is go and evaluate the different locations to see if the property's worth enough that you think somebody would bid it back at tax sale to get it back if you added the value to clean it up. If it costs $2,000 to clean up this trailer, and there's a property worth $10,000 an acre, you know, would somebody be willing to spend $3,000 to pay, clear the lien and do that, to buy it, and we get paid back? That's the way I know how to, you know, you just have to evaluate each one. Some places are worth more than others, as usual, you know, so.
Right.
That's about the only way you can do it, I see, you know. But you're right, if you leave it alone, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
You get to where, I mean, the cost to clean it up would be it. You got a tree growing up through the middle of it.
What you do is hire an
I
appraiser.
don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying?
When you go in there, tear the house down and clean it up, and it stays, it's gonna grow up.
Anyway, yeah.
I
don't know.
Guess it comes down to what you wanna look at. You wanna look at a bunch of trees and shrubs, or trees and shrubs with a dilapidated structure?
I like those.
I guess maybe, let's
Trucks are
get it,
gone.
to get us off center, can you find out maybe what it would cost for somebody to get, when somebody that does that, kind of what it would cost to get it cleaned up?
Didn't we
Just
do
a-
that not long ago?
Yeah, it costs
Somewhere down there?
between, at the minimum, 2,000 up.
I was gonna say 2,500, just a ballpark.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what we've been, that's what, kinda in the neighborhood of where we've been.
And it may be that we got if we got a, I hate to say it this way, but a volume number, like got multiple, that you get a better, because once they move, the biggest part of some of this right there is actually moving equipment in and out. I mean, it doesn't take them any time to clean it up. It's having to move in. So if you had multiple in a said area, it's not like they having to move so much.
Well, times have changed since when they built this, you know, and so you can't come back with a trailer even and put it there because the sewage. You can't have a treatment system unless you're willing to spend some big bucks for a treatment system, and I highly doubt somebody gonna put $13,000 in on an engineered system.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just having an open discussion of what the answer is gonna be, because you can't just let the place. I mean, I'd rather see it grow up without a dwelling on it. You know, at least it's just a piece of, block of land then. I guess we move on from this. I don't know the answer, but you're gonna run into another one and another one. It's gonna continue, it just continues. And, like I say, if you see around some of them are okay properties around them.
Well, we've done some in your area this year.
Oh, I know.
You
I
know,
know.
I mean, if it's feasible,
Oh, I
I'm sure
understand.
everybody wanna do it, but.
I'm not saying it's not, Jay, I'm just being a discussion of what the answer's gonna be, because this is something that's gonna grow.
Well, y'all didn't like
Not just in my
my answer,
district, huh? No, I liked your answer.
So who
but-
owns this property?
A fellow by the name of Mike Curtis.
We don't own it though.
Who'd you say?
What?
Mike Curtis.
Well, I thought it said the state owned it.
I did too.
It went to the state, though.
Huh?
Yeah,
Well, it went to the state, but he's the one that owns it.
yeah, he lost it.
Oh, he did own it.
I
Yes, sir.
think when we started this process, it was in his name, and in the course of everything, I think that it changed over.
Well, if it's now in the ownership of the state, then it got struck off to the state, which means it went south 2
obviously
years
some
ago.
of our bidders are doing their homework. in the
Yes,
land sale.
somebody figured out not to touch that.
Yeah.
Well, what will they ever do with it then?
They'll sit on it.
Okay, sit
Well,
on
at some,
it.
at some point they did like they did in my area in Robin Hood. They came back, put all the surplus. Once it seats a certain number, the Secretary of State said, well, let's put it on the auction block and let's see what we can do. And it may jail. It may generate with an adjacent loan donor, but it'll be like $1,000, you know, $2,000. But I think, do we ever get those kind of liens back?
Yes, some of that is remitted for the actual tax obligation back to the town. And of course, once it's sold, it goes back on the tax
That's right.
rolls.
I mean, you
So,
just get it back on the rolls. But,
That's the purpose behind it.
but at some point, the
To your
Secretary-
question, Jared, they don't have to do anything. It can sit there. The Robin Hood acreage that Bob's talking about, gosh, that may have been 30 years. Some of those parcels.
Well, you know, Delaware did it over there in Hines County. It was very successful in Jackson. You know, they got a lot of stuff back on the tax rolls. They said, let's go to Rankin County and do it. And they rolled in here and they showed us where all these were. And I said, I think you wasted your time, but go ahead.
They were.
Yeah, they were.
They were.
They got a couple lots
They
back
were.
on the rolls.
Yep.
So.
Okay. Well, I don't know what to do with it then.
So an option would be to do nothing, close the public hearing and take no action. Another option would be to declare it and to ask or assign to Dwayne and Renee to figure out what's it going to take to clean it up yourself.
Maybe we make a deal with adjacent landowner, say, hey, you want this property?
We can't
Yeah.
sell it there.
Now, without the state's
I'm sure the state be willing to
permission.
make a deal.
I would think so.
I'd like to find out what it just costs. I think that's the least we need to do. Of just cleaning the dwelling. I'm not talking clean the whole place up.
I won't make any promises, but we have worked with the state on some escheated parcels where it was helpful to the county, maybe on a project, road project, something like that, where they've actually allowed us to reverse the sale, to void the sale into that is cheated into the state and put it back on the tax rolls so that we were able to work with that. So this it could happen. We just have to find out. I don't want to make any promises, but I think they might be open to that if we can explain to them why, for public necessity purposes, why we would want it back. Yeah. We just have to see.
Okay. Well, okay, I'm open to anything. I'd like to see what it costs to clean it
Our
up.
people that we pay to do our acquisition of property, how do they bill us?
It's by the parcel on the road projects. Yes, sir. So I don't know if, like a one-off like this, Jay, I don't know what they do. We just have to ask.
Well, let's say it was 5 in this particular area.
What do you want them to do? What do you
I was
want them
saying
to
that they
do?
could go and talk to the adjacent landowners, see if they couldn't strike a deal with somebody to buy or even be willing to take the parcel.
But the state would have to be willing to sell it, I guess. We don't know what it'd be.
But I mean, it would at least go back on the tax roll.
But I mean, but they wouldn't know what the value would be. How would you do that?
Yeah, so this wouldn't be like the county doing it, Jared, within the context of like eminent domain type work or purchasing right. It's a different deal
right.
here. That they would just be hired to consult on behalf of the county and to see if there's an expression of interest from the property owners adjacent. Try to help put that deal together. We can talk to them and find out what that would do.
I mean, it's something to entertain,
Okay.
yeah.
So,
I think
Renee,
it's
if
gonna
you
be a
make a
growing
note
problem.
that we need to get together and get the right-of-way acquisition guys
Like you said,
to
this
take a
probably
look
is the
at.
last time we're going to do it.
Yeah, correct. So, and we may want to go ahead and do a quick takeoff on all the Triangle Acres and see exactly how many parcels out there are we dealing with.
I wish you would.
And just go ahead and try to, whatever arrangement we can come up with, if we can, get them to do all of them.
Bunch of them.
I know.
You got a notebook?
A bunch of
Jeez,
vacant.
Are you serious? There's that many?
A bunch of vacant ones. Is that what he's?
Good minute.
Well, a bunch of
Abandoned.
dilapidated ones. I don't know if they're vacant or
So
if
some
they've
of
been
them are vacant,
abandoned.
some of them aren't, but the ones that aren't, we'd be able to get cleaned
You'd
up.
be
Some of them-
surprised if anything gets to the point it's not worth
Yeah.
spending the money, the 2,500 to clean it up because you won't get it back on
Right,
tax sale.
right,
So that's,
right.
you know.
Yeah, that depends,
Let's
it's
move
got to
on.
be piece by piece.
Okay.
I
So,
agree.
we're not gonna take any action on this, so Jared's motion would be to close the public hearing and take no action. And we know on our side that we're gonna start a process of exploration and come back and report to you guys. So that public hearing is closed.
Okay.
Do we actually need action?
Yeah, go ahead and vote on Jared's motion to take no action.
Second.
All right, Jared makes the motion to take no action. Jay seconds that motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes to take no action.
Item F is the Charles Knaus nuisance property at 128 Sweet Gum Lane. This is District 1 property. I'll ask Renee to demonstrate. We'll open that public hearing. If Mr. Knaus or anyone here on his behalf, you may step forward at this time.
All right, so we received a complaint in December of 18 about a house that had burned, grass, rubbish, and debris. These pictures were taken in May of this year. I think this property is at Cleary Lakes. And these are the new pictures. There hasn't been any real change.
Have you done anything since these pictures were taken?
I don't think, no, not since those.
Okay.
I've done some, yes.
Is there some reason you're not cleaning it up?
No, I've been working on it. I have a list of all the days I've worked on it.
What have you?
Since I removed the structure, it was a burn structure there. And this summer I finished removing the burn structure. And, you know, I can go there and work all day and you can't hardly tell that I've done anything. And, we visited together the other day. The issue at this point is whether y'all would require me to take the chimney out.
It needs to be completely cleaned up. And the difference in this, like I said, the picture doesn't show it, but everything lives right in this area. I mean, they're all around it. I mean, there's a house just to the left and right, probably one behind it, one out in front of it. It's right in the middle, and you know, we've been very worked with you through all the different things that you've dealt with, and I've been telling the people that, you know, what's going on, being up front with them, because I get numerous calls, and I can't go anywhere that I don't see somebody that says what's going on with it, and they don't see enough progress. And you know, the understanding was after we waited quite a while for you to be in a position you could do something, and there hadn't been that much done. There has some, but I mean, the bottom line, it's got to be, what are your plans? What would your plans be? I mean, you can't build back on it. You can't.
I don't.
On the site.
Excuse me.
No, that's fine. No, you can build on the site, but you can't build on the foundation or anything that's there.
Well, my opinion would be that if a structure is going to be built there, the block foundation that is there, well, you would have to either utilize that. It would be wasteful to take that out.
I don't know, and I'd have to refer to our building department whether that's something that could be reused or not.
Anything
where they would allow it.
Yeah, anything there going forward from this point, since it burned all the way down, would, you know, it'd take an engineer to tell you yes or no. I mean, it's not something that we would even venture to say yes or no on.
Okay.
You know, it'd take an engineer's report, because fire and concrete don't mix.
I was gonna say, I know on slabs that you can't go back and rebuild on a slab after it's burned because it's damaged to concrete. I would think it'd probably do the same thing with cinder block, which that's kind of what that looks like.
Okay.
I
just wanted to make
you're
you
gonna
aware.
have to have a bulldozer come in here or an excavator or something to get rid of all this.
It's on uneven property. I know that would make it some difficult, and that's when he's gonna take a piece of equipment to do it.
Like, for example, I don't know, on this, this is the low end down here, and the block foundation is probably 8 feet from ground level.
Right.
And at the other end, it's maybe 2 feet.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I've been out there. I've been asked to come out there. I was out there about a month ago, and you know, actually, when you were in here before, we kind of let it slip through the crack because it was said some things had been done, and actually, I happened to be out there not long after we had it in here before, and I was, in fact, they were walking on the side of the road, said, "Stop here, we want you to come look at this," and hadn't anything really been done. So I really kind of got egg in my face on that, trying to take up for you, saying you had done something, and they want you to come look at it and see. So the bottom line is it's just got to be cleaned up, and either you're gonna get somebody in there cleaned up, or we're gonna go ahead and get prices of what it takes to clean up. That lot would be worth cleaning up, and I don't think you want us to clean it up, because then that adds to the cost to the lot. So bottom line is it's got to be cleaned up. I mean, we've been really honest and be fair. We've been patient. They're going on what.
I don't dispute that.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years,
yeah,
more than 2
right,
years.
I know, and I've worked with you in every way I could through everything. So I wish you need to work with us, because
I think our interests are the same. I mean, I'd like to realize something out of the property.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna spend the rest of my life rebuilding that house.
Right.
You know, I think that's almost out of the question.
So, okay, so we're just gonna we just need to get cleaned up then. If you get cleaned up, then you got to keep the lot clean.
Sure.
You can't let it grow up.
Absolutely.
Right. So.
Yeah, you get it cleaned up, clean the lot, stick for sale sign out there, somebody will come snatch it up. You'll get the money back you got in it to tear down what's left.
That area, I mean, yeah, that's a good lot there in Cleary. And so, I mean, if, you know, if that's what the road path you wanna take, but the path we need to take right now is go ahead and get it cleaned up. And I can't keep on.
I make a motion to declare it's a nuisance.
Well, declare it a nuisance, we're going to give him, we can go and declare it a nuisance, but I don't want this to drag on. I want this needs to be. If we declare it a nuisance, I think we still need to go ahead and get prices, look to clean it up. You can get, and I don't mind giving you names or names for somebody to clean it up for yourself, that you deal with it rather than us. But I think we need to start down that road right now. That's the best answer I'm gonna be able to give anybody of the people that know we're having this meeting today, that I'll be getting phone calls about, what did y'all decide? And if I say, we're gonna give them 30 days, declare a nuisance, and it's gonna wind up in court and nothing still happens, then we're still nowhere. So that's why I wanna see something. I wanna know what can we do to go ahead and clean it up? Because if it winds up in justice court, it could sit there for another 6 months. And that's already been there, basically, almost there once before, and we kept buying time to help you out.
Yeah. So
So
the
what's-
motion really just should be, Jared's motion would be.
Jay's made a
Jay's
motion.
So I guess Jared's asking if the motion can be amended
Yeah.
to add, in addition to declaring it a nuisance, instruction to Renee and Dwayne to secure the cost to clean it up.
I'm not doing that. Or, you know, we have someone here capable of taking care of it, you know, sir, we need you to, you know, take care of your business. Otherwise, we need to send you to justice court and let them
The
deal with it.
point I'm trying to make, Jay, is you're not seeing that. If you get there, it still may not get done. And I wanna see it done.
Okay. I make a motion in justice court.
Let me add this. Last week I redeemed it for taxes. I could have let it go and washed my hands of it. But I redeemed it just to, I'm saying that to maybe demonstrate to the board that I have intentions of doing this. And I'd like to submit my handwritten notes into the record of every day I've worked on it since I've been out of prison.
Yeah.
If y'all care to see
Hand
this.
those to Ms.
Yep,
Renee.
right there.
Were you living in the house when it burned?
Yeah.
What, did you just not have insurance?
No, I had no insurance. It was my second fire. I was in the process of rebuilding it from the second fire. And I was down to the kitchen. I was rewiring the kitchen. And I couldn't procure any insurance on it because I wasn't finished rebuilding it for the first fire. I mean, I could have,
Yeah.
but it was.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, construction. Well, Jay's made a motion.
well, I'm gonna rescind that motion because this is what I'd like to still get some prices so I'd know what it costs to clean it up.
My motion can die from lack of a second.
Well,
I mean, I wanna do the same thing, but I still wanna know what it's gonna cost to clean up.
Jared, we've never done that before. The only time we've ever cleaned
Well-
up property when there was no one there capable of doing it.
Didn't say we were. I said I'd still like to know what it costs to be to clean it up.
Okay.
And that's gonna cost you a dime. Why can't you just find out?
all right, what's the motion?
Motion is declare the nuisance, but also, you see what it's gonna cost you to clean it up, and I'm gonna see what it's gonna cost us to clean it up.
So
And
has,
go and get
has
it
the
cleaned
chair
up.
determined that Jay's motion
He
died
withdrew
for
it.
lack of a second?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jared has made a motion now to declare it a
A
nuisance
nuisance.
and to secure the cost of cleanup that the county would incur.
Yeah.
To secure that as a price to come back and to report to the board. I'd like for that report, if possible, to be given. Can we do it by the 3rd, do you think? That's our next meeting. Can we give a report back to the, can we give a report back to the board by the 3rd?
That might be a little tight.
Yeah.
Because I know some.
15th.
Yeah.
The next,
16th.
yeah.
15th would be better.
16th.
Yeah.
Is Monday a holiday?
Yep.
Yeah. No.
All right, we have a motion by Jared to declare it a nuisance and request for cost estimates for cleanup that hopefully we'll have back in here on the 16th. And I need a second. I'll second it. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
All right, it has been declared a nuisance.
Okay, so is that a scheduled hearing day?
No. it's
No.
not.
No.
No, this hearing's over. The board will receive a report on the cost of cleanup on the 16th. And then at that point, they'll be in a position to decide what instructions they're gonna give, whether we're gonna go right through the justice court process, or if it's going to eventually be back on a planning commission agenda to have it cleaned up.
Or, and in between, meantime, you can do the same thing. You can go and find someplace, to clean it up, and then before it'll never get to justice court. Because it gets to justice court, then you gotta deal with that, and then they're more than likely gonna say, you will clean it up. So, it's basically the same thing either way you go. But if we clean it up, then it's gonna add to the cost, and I don't wanna do that for you, but I would still like to know what it's gonna cost. And that's all I'm saying. I say we're doing it, still wanna know the cost. So,
There may be some value in those bricks. And I don't know, but
Maybe, I don't know.
but anyway, need a move, that's where we are. And like I said, I appreciate you making the statement that we have worked with you, and we've tried to work with you.
thank you.
Thanks.
For the record, that hearing is closed. I believe that's all the nuisance considerations.
Mr. President, I make a motion to adjourn to October 3rd, 9 o'clock.
We have a motion to adjourn. Second, motion by Bob, second by Jay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. All right. Now we going to call to order our Rankin County Board of Supervisors meeting. And Craig, you have a few words.
Yes, sir. On the, you've got a place marker there for Mr. Franco, the architect, to come. Carl didn't need to come because the first item under my section, if the chair was willing to move forward to under my section now, will dispense with his need to be here. Item A under my section is a discussion of a potential action to approve a change order for the placement of appropriate security equipment in the laundry area of the new misdemeanor facility. Carl sent out, and I think Ms. Laura may have forwarded on to you guys, the recommendation that we secure additional security equipment that was not included in the original planning. I asked specifically whether this was an add-on request or if this was potentially an oversight from the original planning. It's an add-on. It was not in the original plan to be included in the security protocol. The sheriff believes strongly that there needs to be security equipment there, and so this would just simply be to approve the change order for the placement of that appropriate security equipment. It's between, I believe the estimate that Mr. Burge gave was somewhere between $8,500 and $9,500 as the change order.
I'll make that motion.
All right. Daniel makes a motion to approve. Jay seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next item, item B, is an update on and potential action to authorize submission of a request for federal assistance related to the Rankin County Stormwater Management Program. This is the report that you've received from Wagner Engineering. There is, at present, significant movement. We're in that part of the year where the Senate has been in recess, the Congress has been in recess. They are preparing to return. There are a number of potential appropriations that are under discussion at present. And so your professionals are asking for permission to submit a letter update to your delegation that puts them on notice that this board has already expended significant money for a stormwater program management, and to put them on notice that that is an effort that is being made at the county level, and that this board would appreciate any attention that may be able to be given at the federal level to the county's efforts with respect to stormwater management. This would be a request for an authorization. In layman's terms, what that means is getting in line, putting our names, our efforts, what we're doing for programming purposes putting it on the record in the books so that as future appropriations come online, this effort that we're undertaking would receive attention in due course and hopefully priority treatment in due course. And so there is no commitment of any funding whatsoever. You're simply getting in line, getting an awareness in place, and making it clear to our federal delegation that we want their help with this, okay? So at some point in the future, if things were to shake out appropriately and like we hope, then at that point, you will be given an opportunity to consider whether or not you want the federal help and what it might cost in terms of matching. Does that make sense? So this is not an obligation of any kind. It's to get us in line. And I have a copy of the letter if you guys want to look at it. So what I'd be asking you to do is to authorize your board president to simply execute the letter that puts them on notice, and we'll get that sent in. And we're being told that we've got to do this ASAP because things are moving very quickly at the Senate level.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, Jay makes a motion to approve. Bob seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Ms. Froden.
Ms. Wanda.
Good morning. Item A is ratification for authority to reimburse Dean's Memorial Funeral Home for the cremation of an unclaimed body pursuant to the county's indigent cremation policy, and authority to issue the check in the amount of $450.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, Bob makes a motion to approve. Jared seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item B is discussion of and potential action on change of our biweekly payroll to semi-monthly payroll per section 25.329. The change could potentially take place November 1st, 2019.
Why are we doing that?
This is upon auditor recommendation. It's something they've been enforcing. We had authority years ago to do biweekly payroll, and as a result of this year's audit, they determined that we either have to pay monthly at the end of the month or semi-monthly on the 1st and 15th.
What does it matter to them?
Because the
The
statute says
statute
it should
says
be
that.
monthly or semi-monthly, but for 15 years,
You have to readjust
We have done it.
the pay though, because you got 24 versus 26 pay periods.
right, and what will happen is, because the two extra pay periods,
Yep.
Right.
they got those
Bi-weekly.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Once a quarter, a check will contain 3 weeks. So they'll still get
They'll
the
get the
same
money,
amount of
right.
pay. Annual
Right.
pay will not change. Only instead of every other Friday, it will be the 1st and 15th, unless the 15th falls on a holiday or weekend, and then it will be Friday quarter.
Somebody won't get their fund money.
Yep.
That,
You'll miss them
that
two
third
checks.
check in the month,
Yeah.
that's gonna hurt
Well, they're gonna
the
get
way
the same
things are
amount.
planned. They'll get the same amount, but
Yeah.
it doesn't work that way in real life.
Those two don't have insurance on it.
Exactly. The fund money,
For the guys.
All right, so let's make sure,
Mama don't know
everybody,
about that
tell
one.
all of our employees, it's not our fault.
We will be, this does have, require action, and we will be sending out an email that explains it.
All right, motion approved.
All right, Jay makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Bob seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
But elected officials will remain once a month.
Item C, consideration of ratification of original creation of Rankin County EMS District in 1982.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, Bob makes a motion to approve. Jay seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, item D is reviewing the agenda for September 3rd, 2019.
Okay, let's do that. Done. All right, additional business. Yeah. All right, under additional business, let's see, our first one, discussion of potential reimbursement to the county from bond proceeds.
What do we need to discuss about that?
We have, if the county's going to be reimbursed like we were last time for any, thing that we have done, some of it's within the last 18 months that the county has paid.
Oh, it's 18 months.
Some parts of it are 18
If
months,
it's still
yes.
still
That
active.
we
Yeah.
can recoup some of that money.
Yeah.
Majority would go into the road fund. There is a little bit that would go into the bridge. It's on that page.
Am I supposed to be able to read this time?
Jay, I made it bigger.
Yeah, you
Does
forgot
anybody
to
have
help
No
any,
problem with it whatsoever.
does anybody have any glasses for Jay?
Jay, I'm trying to bring you that pair.
I just didn't know she's gonna give me all this small
Didn't know how to
today.
read. I didn't know how to read.
I tried to
You're gonna
make
start
it
handing out
larger.
two
I went
sheets.
to a legal sheet,
Well,
but
lettering up so bad.
All right. So, where's
anyway,
the question?
y'all have to
This
tell
is
us,
just-
because this has to go to Butler Snow. We have to
Well, we
give them
know
a
we wanna recoup
list.
everything for Andrew Chapel and Gunner Road.
I think
The
we
question is, how much did we put in, when we did the breakdown of the monies,
Yeah.
how much did we set aside for reimbursements?
I believe it was only half a million.
Yeah, we didn't have.
We reimbursed.
Are y'all listening? Hey, Jay,
Yeah.
did you listen?
So,
Yeah.
when we were talking about the bond issue, we didn't have the foggiest clue how much we were gonna be able to recoup. There was no way to get that information together like you have it now at that time. So we just assigned a number. It was around $500,000, maybe
I
$1
think it
million.
was that.
We just sort of basically guessed at it, and we were hopeful that we could get at least that much as far as the guess is concerned. Now that we've been able to sit back and fine tune some of the details, you can see that the potential recovery is significantly more than we guessed.
Yeah.
But we also had a significantly greater haul of bond proceeds than we ever would have dreamed possible. We don't have them yet, but they're on the way. So I think you've got some room to consider whatever level of reimbursement you're interested in considering, up to close to $2.8 million, if you want to do that.
Why would we not?
That's what he
Well,
said.
that's the board's
It's
discretion.
potentially
Come out
could
of something
impact a project.
Right.
I mean, so we have to be careful of just how much to say. We don't want to go, we passed this whole sheet.
Well, that's
you
why I
know.
said Andrew Chapel, Gunner Road for sure, because we
Yeah, some of
had,
that's
we had
probably
set aside money in the bond to build those anyway,
Yeah, so we need.
right?
Yep.
So, get one quick hedge on what I just told you. I don't want you guys laboring under the impression that every single item that you see on here is eligible. This is what Ms. Laura just told you. We've got to get this to Butler Snow.
To see.
And as
what
bond
they're
counsel,
evaluating.
they've got to tell us, yes, you can in fact recover
We didn't
these.
put anything in there for Holly Bush.
Why don't we let
We feel pretty
them-
good about it.
Let's just send the whole list and let them come
Yeah.
back, report back.
And then
So I
look at
think
it.
what we're trying to do here, guys, is say, are y'all okay with us submitting this whole list to Butler Snow for analysis?
See what, see what
Yeah,
can
for
come back and
analysis,
say.
yeah, for analysis,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Why has Ehrlich Road got so much money on it?
It doesn't.
That's,
It only has $1,800.
$1,882.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's it.
My bad.
And it was engineering.
I was
fees.
looking up, yep, I got you.
Yeah, you need a motion on that, Craig?
I don't think we need a motion
I
on
don't feel
this.
like
I think y'all's go ahead, we'll just submit it and see what they.
Y'all will take action on it maybe on the 3rd if we can get a response back.
Yeah,
Of course,
good
we're in
luck
the
with
middle
that,
of getting
buddy.
all that prepped.
You must be working this weekend and on Monday too, so it must, you know.
I think that there's some things on the agenda that have yet to be got to that explains what I'm gonna be doing over the next several days. Yeah. Yes.
All right, so we ready to move to that item?
His rate's better on holiday weekend, Bob.
Got time and a half.
It's a better rate. It's a better rate.
Or there's no reason for us to have a motion or anything
I
for
don't think
this
so,
just to be
because-
reviewed.
Right, if they tell us we can, then y'all will have
Then
to
we'll
make
look at
that
it.
approval
Yeah.
for us to recoup
Yeah,
that
as long
money.
as it's just a bid,
Alright.
yeah, I'm fine.
Let's move on.
Okay.
The next one's
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't know if we need to review it or not, I can't see it, so I'm gonna take it with me and I'll read it later.
Before you leave here, I will print one on 4 pages that is
I'll
extremely
read it
large.
later.
About 4 pages of it.
Okay, we
Yeah,
got a
big
bed
letters,
sheet
yeah.
back there to print something on for you. Mr. President, item B, under additional items, do you want to lead that, or do you want me to mention?
I would like for us just to have, try to recognize what we have in Pelahatchie, because it's moving from one day to the next as far as what the financials are making payments or salaries or whatever. It seems like it has been some change this week, and I would like you to tell us where you think we are, or because it's part of, I mean, our county is suffering.
Yes, sir.
Our citizens over there.
Right.
They feel like everybody's abandoning them.
Yes, sir. So there's one item for executive session, one specific item for executive session that I won't be getting into that involves potential litigation. However, I think it's appropriate to discuss sort of how we got to this point and the impact of the situation in Pelahatchie on the county generally. As we know, there has been a dispute, an ongoing dispute, multiple disputes in Pelahatchie between the mayor and the Board of Aldermen and others with respect to how funds are being handled, paid, accounted for, and some other things. So the argument has been made in multiple lawsuits that there is an ongoing investigation or an audit of their accounting program, past, present, and how that may implicate how they are doing business, how they are taking care or not taking care of their bills. And so because of this alleged continuing audit and investigation, that has been the pretext for the mayor's decision not to sign any checks on behalf of the town. And so her argument has been, I'm going to incur personal liability if I put my name, sign my name, and send out checks. Paying obligations have been approved by the board. In essence, I am lending my support to that action. And so she's made the decision she's not going to sign any checks. At least that was the position up until about a day or so ago. So the board was put in the position of having to figure out, well, how is it under Mississippi law that we'll be able to tender checks, get checks out to pay for the obligations of the town without her signature. And so they went through the process, got with the bank that controls the accounts, asked for some direction. The bank told them, well, under Mississippi law, if she won't do it, there's an option for the majority of the Board of Aldermen to execute the check. They just have to name who the 3 out of the 5 are that are going to be signing checks, and then the bank would receive that, a copy of the minutes, where the minutes were approved, and presumptively the bank would then implement that as an alternative way to have checks signed. And so the town went through that process, put that in place, but for whatever reason, once those minutes authorizing the 3 defined and named aldermen to sign the checks alternatively went to the bank's legal division, they shut it down and demanded additional information. I'm not really clear about exactly what they were looking for, asking for, or why. And depending on who you talk to, you get a different story about what's happening. At any rate, the bank made it clear that they were not going to honor checks that were signed by the 3 aldermen. So total impasse. As we know, town employees, specifically the police officers, were not being paid. They did not get paid, they had not been paid up to for about 30 days, maybe a month. And so it created chaos over there, as you can imagine. We've seen the video and the reports and some other things about exactly what they're dealing with. As a backstop, at the request of the police chief, our sheriff, thankfully, has assigned deputies, and they have gone to serve as a backstop in situations where police officers who have not been paid are actually out working jobs where they are going to get paid, but they're not able to serve as police officers in the town while they're trying to cover their own bills. So it's created a situation where law enforcement for Pelahatchie has been impacted by the decisions or failure to act on the part of the governing authorities, specifically the mayor not signing checks. That's what started all of this. And so Brian has incurred expenses related to backfilling Pelahatchie. Second thing that has come to the forefront, and that's public safety. The second issue is public health, and that is that we know, because we've been contacted, we being the county have been contacted by utility providers who are telling us that their bills have not been paid for well more than a month. I'm told as much as 2 months. And so how does that impact? The utility providers, while they have never said that they are coming to shut power off, and they want it clear, and I'm putting it on the record here, the people that I'm in contact with the utility providers are making it very clear. They know that at some point, if they don't get paid, they're going to have to do something. But the last thing they want to do is to shut off power to the town of Pelahatchie. They do not want to do that. And so I want to make that clear and on the record just for that purpose, because there may be some information out there that runs counter to that. But they know, because one of them is a cooperative, they know that they answer to their members. And it's not a good look if the people in charge of that utility are telling their own members, well, we're just going to let them ride. They can't do that. They have to be paid. So these are utility providers that supply electricity specifically, and why this is a public health issue, to the sewer system that functions in Pelahatchie. If the power goes down for the sewer system, we got a mess. We have a public health emergency. That's how it impacts us, the county, okay? So yes, there is a very real impact for the silliness that is happening in Pelahatchie on all of the taxpayers of Rankin County.
So is there anything
Very
we
real
can do
impact.
to keep this from happening again?
So
If someone decides not to sign checks next month?
So there are options that have been explored and will be discussed in detail in executive session. I think, Mr. President, your idea was to get it on the table that there is, in fact, an impact to all of the citizens of Rankin County. There is. I will tell you, I don't want to put the sheriff in a tight spot, but I believe that he indicated, may have been in a public setting, and I'm going to let you correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe that at this stage, Pelahatchie is into us, being the county, well more than $50,000. So the impact to the citizens of Rankin County, which includes, by the way, the citizens of the town of Pelahatchie, is $50,000 at least, and that's going to end up being a running total if we get into situations where, specifically with law enforcement, we're having to dispatch deputies to backfill.
Well, we already, last meeting, had
Yes.
to do some emergency declaration to pay gas for them.
Yes, sir.
Fuel man stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I don't know that we incurred any expenses, but you guys did authorize those expenditures in the event that it became required. What we understand, Jay, was originally we were told that the fuel man account had been suspended for non-payment. And what it appears happened is not that it was suspended, but that one particular card, for whatever reason, was impacted somehow in that system. And I think some assumptions may have been made that the account had been suspended. So now, so what may be happening at this point, because it's not clear, we may have continuing obligations of the town that are not yet paid, despite the fact that the payroll was paid. It's not clear to us, and we don't have any information at this point, did they pay the utility bills? The information we got was that she was going to execute documentation that would allow for the payroll to be paid. But that doesn't help us with our electric bills, and that certainly doesn't take care of fuel man expenses.
Well, aside from that, I think I read where she made the statement, this is a one-time thing.
Yes, that's correct.
So I don't want to turn back next month and have to deal with this again.
That will be a very important statement, and what I'm going to be talking to you guys about shortly.
I'm going to make a motion, we discuss the need for executive session, Mr. President.
All right. Bob makes a motion, go into executive session for discuss the need, that's right. Discuss the need to go into executive session. Jay seconds that motion. All in favor? Any opposed?
I make a motion, we go into the executive session, need of potential litigation, personnel to be thrown in there too, Ms. Oster?
Yes, personnel.
Personnel too?
Yep.
Personnel.
All right, Bob makes a motion, go into executive session, discuss legal and personnel action. Jay seconds that motion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Good deal.
Clear room.
Got it.